Why is it looking at you? It's following you, dirty. Fucking Johnny Five. It's fucking followed you. Look. Oh, it's alive. Welcome to Project 71. Sarah and I today are going to attempt to tell her story right from the beginning as clearly as we can. So we thought we'd do it in an interview style, which is going to be a bit weird because we're married.
It is.
Should we start from the beginning?
Do it.
You can just tell us what FTD is.
So FTD stands for frontal temporal lobe dementia. It's quite a rare type of dementia, but it is a form of dementia that does more commonly affect younger people. It can affect behaviour, communication, cognitive function, and then in the latter stages, memory, the same as what we can normally traditionally associate with dementia. It can be hereditary, or you can just get it.
And in your family's case,
it's hereditary.
It's hereditary.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So it's genetic, and it's because of a gene mutation, and that has been passed down from my dad to me.
And does everybody get that if anybody's related to someone with FTD?
No, so in mine and my brother's case, because my dad carried the gene, it meant that me and my brother had a 50-50 chance of carrying the gene.
Right.
But if you carry the gene, then it's pretty much guaranteed that you will later develop FTD.
And the symptoms that you may manifest, do they run in the family or?
They can, but there's just so little known about it. The specialists and doctors can't really give us definitive answers.
Right. So how did you discover that it was first in your family?
So my dad was diagnosed roughly 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We started noticing significant changes in his behaviour. Getting the diagnosis was a very long and lengthy process that was led by my stepmom, and because she just refused to leave the doctor's surgery one day until something kind of got done. He'd been misdiagnosed with depression, amongst other things, along the way, and the whole process was actually quite stressful until he got that final diagnosis.
And his symptoms were more behavioural?
Yes, 100%. So the type of FTT that runs in my family is the behavioural variant. And early days, it was just things like Dad was always quite sociable. He was very bubbly, he was very outgoing. He was, the just one more person at the bar, and the part of people liked being around him. He was a people person, and he started really struggling in social settings. Started becoming quite dithery. Really struggled with just kind of interacting with people, and seemingly became really depressed. Hence why he was misdiagnosed.
Yeah, when did I first meet him? 16 years ago or something like that?
Yeah, 16, 17.
And they were camping and we joined them on their little holiday weekend break. And the first time I met him, he had a pint of vodka milkshake and a sari or some sort of skirt.
Yeah.
And absolutely the most jovial human being I've ever met. And actually, by then he was already not as jovial as he was when you first, experienced him as Dad, right? And so therefore how did it change and how quick did he change?
It was quite a slow and steady process for Dad. I would say that we would kind of get a plateau period for a bit, and then he would kind of nosedive, and then it plateau for a bit, and that pattern would kind of repeat over the years. The behaviour kind of manifested in almost like compulsive behaviours. So like he had to do a thing at that time, or he had to do a thing in that way. Like his routine with walking the dog, that was one of his obsessions. Food was a massive obsession for him, especially towards the latter stages. And it got to the point where my stepmom was hiding food because he would just eat everything. We caught him eating the hydrangeas in the garden, the little tiny sour grapes that you get on those vines.
Got to get your 5 a day, I suppose.
How he never poisoned himself, I will never ever know. But yeah.
And so therefore, what did it mean for your wider family? Was anyone else?
So my uncle did get diagnosed after my dad. His diagnosis came a little bit quicker, probably helped by the fact that Dad had already got diagnosed. His symptoms also escalated and manifested much, much, much quicker than Dad's. So his was quite aggressive, quite quick, and now he's kind of plateaued whereas Dad was sort of the other way around.
Were there any commonalities in their
the food thing.
Behaviours.
Food thing, definitely. Both really obsessed with food, to the point where that's all they wanted. You know, that they had to get that food.
And sweet food as well.
Sweet food predominantly. I mean, remember Dad's apple pie obsession?
Yeah.
You know, that was everything. And we had the birthday thing here, and I brought him a chocolate cake, and he ate it, but had the ump because he didn't have apple pie. And we had to send my brother out to go and get it. And as Keith, like my brother, was coming down the path, Dad ran after him and literally snatched it out of his hands and come marching out the path.
What was funny was there was such a pressure under getting him the right thing that Keith rang you from the shop because you sent him out, and you were like, I was like, what's the matter? They've only got apple crumbles. Okay, so we're getting a picture now. So in terms of where your dad's brother is now, where is it?
So he is in full-time residential care and has been since around COVID, so about sort of 5-6 years.
And he was, you know, I met him obviously, and he was a record label owner, dressed head to toe in pink, most of the time the most flamboyant person ever, married to a quite well-known DJ and like a real sort of gregarious kind of person. And how did people start noticing his symptoms?
I think it was the erratic and dangerous behaviour.
Right.
So I know there was a point where he couldn't drive anymore. Yeah. And there was his behaviour towards people that he cared about, and obviously food obsessions, and just he just changed. He wasn't the same person. And
your dad never showed any sort of, I say the word aggressive, but he never sort of showed that side of him. So he was very laid back, and chilled.
He almost, I think with Dad, it was more, best way I could describe Dad in the swing of it, so to speak, would be a 13-year-old quite severely autistic boy.
Right.
In terms of the routine and the obsession, and that I have to have that thing and nothing else matters. And obviously the lack of understanding of empathy, you know, the lack of empathy, lack of emotional understanding in situations.
So Zoe then got pushed for a diagnosis.
Absolutely.
And then you found out that actually you were in then line for having a 50-50 chance of developing FTD yourself if you had the gene, or 50-50 chance of having the gene, right?
That's right, yeah.
So why did you decide to get tested?
The main reason was just because of the process and the time that it took Dad to get the diagnosis. Like we talk about now, had we known, the way with things were with Dad in those kind of early years would have been completely different. It would have been so much easier on everyone because we'd have all known. At the time, we just thought it was a bit of an arsehole, you know, and it really put strain on relationships, especially with my dad and my stepmom, who were like two lovesick teenagers, and the fact that, you know, it nearly broke them because they didn't know, and we were like, what the hell's going on? But because my stepmom knew my dad so well, you know, she just pushed it. But as we've said before, not everyone has a Zoe, and that's quite a big challenge for a lot of people. Yeah,
so you need someone in your corner throughout all that, don't
totally.
you? But so in terms of managing your expectations about the test and that kind of stuff, did you and Keith talk a lot about before you went in to get tested? Keith, your brother?
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about it. Like, we probably a lot more through inappropriate jokes and dark humour than actual, you know, proper heart-to-heart stuff. We both had to attend some genetic counselling sessions before we were allowed to kind of proceed.
Yeah.
Being really honest, we were both convinced we both had the gene, and we sort of made inappropriate jokes along the way about it, and it was almost like it was just a given that we were going to have it. I think because we saw, you know, my uncle Marty, my dad, and we were like, that's not 50-50, that's 3 for 3. So like we didn't really believe the 50-50 thing. We were just convinced that we both had it, or we're going to get it. Sorry.
And what does the testing involve?
It's just a blood test.
Just a
simple blood test, and they get the results, and they're looking for a specific gene mutation.
Bonkers that you can just find your future out via a blood test. Wow. So on the day of testing, it was in London, correct?
Yeah.
And what was it? What was described the day? What was your mood like? What were you and Keith like?
So I don't really remember much before, if I'm being really honest. Like, I remember, the bit I do remember is I remember not being that stressed out, and it just being like a thing to tick off and do. Like, it was that kind of a day. Like, I didn't really feel mega stressed or anything. I think it was only when we got the results, so we went in one at a time. I went in first, and then my brother went in after with his wife. And obviously you know it, but then hearing it for definite from someone that's kind of two different things, and I think it was only then that the reality really kind of kicked in.
So are you saying that you genuinely felt like you had it, but when you heard the news, it's suddenly that's
really
real now.
Yeah, totally.
So when you walked out knowing, Keith didn't know at that point what his situation was like. So then he went in.
Yep.
And did you tell him on the way in that you had?
Yeah, because he was waiting, so he wanted to have the answer. And I just remember, I can't remember if I hugged him or I hugged Holly or both of them, I can't remember. And obviously I was quite upset, and then they went in to go and find out.
So Keith walked in knowing his sister would develop FCD and still unsure whether he did.
Yes.
And what happened with Keith?
Thankfully, he will not get it, or he doesn't have the genetic mutation.
Yeah,
so that's
amazing.
A good thing.
Yeah. And from my perspective, I was at work that day teaching,
Yeah.
and you called me in the afternoon as I was driving home. So I pulled over and you were talking about it, and it was amazing that the first thing you said to me was, I have it, but the brilliant news is that Keith didn't have it. That was like your first thought, genuine relief that your brother didn't have it.
Baby brother.
And you were showing no signs of emotion on the phone to me, but all I could hear was Keith sobbing in the background. Like it was
standard.
What happened afterwards? Where did you go? What did you do? How did you start processing?
So there's a little pub on the corner on Queen Square. We went into the pub for a drink and we called my stepmum and then later my mum and told them what was going on, and just kind of, I don't know, took it in really. And then there was more inappropriate jokes between me and my brother. And I just remember my brother just being really, really upset. Like really upset, and that was quite hard to see. Like, and I remember just saying to me, I want you to be happy. Like, don't be sad.
Yeah. But
quite a tough day, I think.
Yeah. I'm going to ask a weird question.
Go on.
I don't know if it's weird. Would if you could, would you swap with Keith?
Not in a million years.
Right.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
You've never asked me that before.
I know, it just occurred to me. So the next few months, obviously news takes time to penetrate, doesn't it? And process. So what were you still at work?
So still at work. Kind of, I guess life goes on, doesn't it? I think it's probably just numb for the first few months, to be honest. I mean, obviously I had periods of being really upset and letting it sink in, but I don't think it truly sunk in with hindsight, if I'm being really honest.
Yeah.
Like, it was just something that I knew that was sad, but I didn't really feel it, whatever that means.
But it must be a weird thing because, there's no symptoms now.
Yeah.
So it must be so weird.
Yeah.
To imagine that you're going to develop those symptoms.
Yeah, it is. And I think I struggled with knowing what to say. So, like, whenever I say, my diagnosis, that didn't feel right.
Right.
Because, I'm not sort of diagnosed with it. I don't have a thing yet. I've just got a thing that means I'm going to get a thing.
It's like being diagnosed with a ticking time bomb rather than symptoms.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I always, still to this day, even now, we say the diagnosis, don't we? But I still find that weird to use that word. It feels odd.
That's what the professional fraternity uses, isn't it? They say diagnosis at this stage.
No, I think they say at risk of dementia. There's a formal thing, and you only get, I think it's diagnosed when you're symptomatic. I don't think
diagnosis is quicker to say. So who else did you tell then at that point? You told close family, obviously, but was there anyone else? I mean, at work and that kind of stuff.
My best friend. Told my best friend, and then over the coming months, there was probably 2 or 3 people at work, and outside of work, I kept the circle quite close initially.
Yeah,
it was only sort of my real nearest and dearest. Just because I didn't really know what to say. I think it was only the people that knew that I was going for it and what was happening and knew about Dad really that kind of knew. So.
And in terms of our relationship, and we've got a daughter, Isla, who's now 9. How did that weigh on you, and how did you what did you carry around that stuff?
So the Isla factor is probably one of the bits that's been the hardest. Just the guilt of knowing that I could have passed it on to her.
Right, because just to reiterate, because you now carry the gene, she is now in that
50-50
chance.
Yeah.
And we've been open and honest with her. She knows because she's had to watch your dad go through it, and she was there just before he passed.
Yeah.
So she's aware of it.
Yeah.
And are you glad that she knows and we tell her?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I just don't think there's a perfect answer, is there? Like, as I said to you the other day, sometimes I worry because obviously I bring her to see my Uncle Mark,
Yeah.
and then I worry that that's too much because she's seen my dad, she's seen Mark, and then knowing that, oh, that's going to be mum one day as well. Like, she's 9. Like,
at the
how
moment,
much can a 9-year-old take? And
right.
I worry. I know we've not been really, really explicit. We've just kind of given her the surface level stuff and try to give it context for her.
Yeah.
But I go back and forth. Sometimes I think it's brilliant. Sometimes I regret it.
She found out when I was driving her home from school, and she just blurted out, because we named it the Jones Funny Brain, didn't we, rather than FTD. It was too abstract for her to deal with. And then she just blurted out, well, I get the Jones Funny Brain. And I had that split second. It's almost like his Father Christmas reel, that split second. And I just couldn't lie to her. So I said, you might do. And I explained that at 18 she could find out, just like you did. And she appears at the moment to have taken it really in her stride and is very philosophical about it. But obviously that's going to get more challenging as she gets older. But I think we've normalised it for her as best we can. And I personally am really glad we've done that. So so the shock factor is going to be less. But, you know, the future is unknown for us.
I mean, Ina being Ina as well, she just don't miss a trick, though, does she, as well? She knows when we're lying. Yes. And that's part of the challenge with her. Absolutely. Like, we can't, like, we struggle lying with her because she just picks it up so quick.
Well, it'd be just awful for a kid to, you know, that thing of kids listening in and hearing stuff and knowing they're not being brought into the picture in the family in a big news like that. Yeah. That's just not the way to do it at all for us, was it? No. So, and our relationship, you expressed to me, you know, why do you want to still do this? Why would you, you know, that kind of stuff. And you say you feel guilty quite a lot. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, just, you know, it's a privilege to do this with you, and it will be a privilege to do it with you, because you're the coolest person I've ever met, quite simply. And it's going to be an honour to do it. It's going to be crazy. I'm banking on the sugar cravings because I'm partial to a cake myself. Project 71, the channel's called Project 71. Yeah. How did that come about?
Well, it was you. I think, I can't remember how long after we found out about it.
That whole time period is just so, it could be 10 years or 10 weeks to me. It's just so weird.
Weird, It was a weird time.
It was very up and down.
Yeah, because it was around COVID as well, wasn't it? So then we had that, so it was all weird.
It's just weird getting such big news and then just nothing changes. Yeah. So it's almost anticlimactic. So anyway, Project 71, if you could outline the story of how we came up with that.
So we were at home and you asked me what age I would be happy for symptoms to start presenting.
If they had to start.
If they had to start. And I said 71 straight away without hesitation. Yeah. Don't know why. 71. It was just there.
And it came out in such a, you just said 71, like it was, like you already knew it. It was really odd.
It was odd.
So our brain started to think like we could, and we started to do that, you know, just dwell on this is how it's going to play out for us. Yeah. Like we had a crystal ball, even though we know about this gene that's going to happen. But it was that thing of we keep looking that way. Maybe we get hit by a bus tomorrow and actually we just wasted that time worrying about this when actually we still got a life to lead. Yeah. So we began using it as a tool to improve our lives and start living.
Absolutely.
Despite this diagnosis, right?
And I guess just using it as a bit of a driver to do things maybe we wouldn't have done before.
Yeah. Like what?
Like this.
Yeah, obviously.
Kick off. Do you know what? I think the biggest thing that I now don't do or do is it's that sweating the small stuff. Like I used to be a bit, not a worry walk, but I would overthink things like conversations. Did I say that right? Did I do that right? I'd be worried about that scenario or how I said something to a person, and I don't anymore. And the ability to prioritise what's important, I think has definitely changed me. Like we used to really let work encroach in my world, and I think I've got much better now at separating those two things. And just, you know, taking risks and pushing yourself a bit more, you know, like ran my first ultra, hopefully running 100 miles next year, and just really trying to just do things and not say, oh, one day, like if we can do it, right, cool, let's do it. Or if we can't do it, right, how can we find a way to do it? Is it possible? Can we do it?
Yeah. I mean, it's almost a cliche, isn't it? That thing of if you feel like you're on borrowed time, then you make more of your time, right? But that is the truth. And you've always, a bit of a people pleaser.
Yeah.
And ironically, at work, your career's really progressed quite quickly, because I think maybe that you have clearer boundaries now, and you're not afraid to speak up a bit more and talk about things and say no.
No, I'm definitely different at work. Like me at work compared to 10 years ago at work, two very different people.
So there are blessings in all of it, always, isn't there, and everything.
And I guess just as well, that appreciation is that cliche thing again, isn't it? The appreciation of what's important. So like your friends, your family, you kind of your close people, they're the ones you just need to keep close, and they're more important than anything else.
Yeah.
I think it's a massive overriding thing for me.
And it's so hard, isn't it? Like, it would be great if we could help other people realise that, but you need your own thing to go through, don't you? You need a challenge to find something great underneath it, because our lives are better. Our day-to-day lives are better because of this diagnosis.
Yes, agreed.
Twinged with this absolute eye-open reality, because you've seen your dad pass from it. We're seeing your uncle diminish from it.
Yeah.
And that, as it stands, will be your future, as best we know from the doctors.
I mean, don't get me wrong, like the way we are now, that first year, 2 years, I wouldn't have been able to talk like this about this, and this wouldn't have been a thing. And if someone had said to me then what we're kind of basically saying now, I'd have probably laughed in the face or told them to go do one. It's taken time to get to that place and see that appreciation.
Yeah,
I think, definitely.
Yeah. Cool. Anything else you want to share?
No, I don't think so. Apart from just, keep following it.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that we can share other people's stories as well, because we do truly believe that the challenges in life is the key to meaning, and meaning is the key to having a fulfilled life.
That was very philosophical.
There you go.